Hi everyone. In the lecture of today, I'll discuss Mr. and Mrs. Hardcastle and some other characters in She Stoops to Conquer. Actually, in the previous lecture, we have already discussed the characters of Kate and Marlowe, the characters of Constance and Hastings. In this lecture, I will finish the other characters. Mr. Hardcastle is an elderly man who resides in a rural area, in an old dwelling, set in his traditional ways, and has a strong dislike for contemporary trends. He participated in the War of Spanish Succession and enjoys recounting tales from his military experiences. Hardcastle is highly protective of his daughter, Kate, lenient towards his wife, Mrs. Hardcastle, and does not approve of his rough and uncultured stepson, Tony. Despite his aversion to modern society and preference for a secluded existence, he does not want to be seen as outdated or irrelevant. Hardcastle expects to be treated with reverence by everyone he encounters, so he is dismayed by the disrespect shown to him by Sir Charles' son, Marlowe. Although he may exhibit unconventional behavior at times, Hardcastle is known for his fairness and impartiality. When he realizes that his wife's deceit is hindering the potential happiness of Tony, Constance, and Hastings, he decides to disclose the truth to enable them to pursue their own paths in life without her interference. In the context of the play, She Stoops to Conquer by Oliver Goldsmith, Hardcastle's character embodies the themes of social class, misunderstanding, and the quest for genuine connection. His expectation of reverence reflects the rigid social hierarchies of the time, and his dismay at Marlowe's disrespect highlights the generational conflicts and the challenges of communication between different social classes. Hardcastle's fairness and impartiality are significant traits that set him apart from other characters who may act out of self-interest or prejudice. His decision to reveal the truth about his wife's deceit demonstrates his moral integrity and his desire for the happiness of the younger characters Tony, Constance, and Hastings. By choosing to act against his wife's manipulative behavior, Hardcastle not only seeks to rectify the situation, but also shows his growth as a character who values love and happiness over societal expectations. The pivotal moment in the play underscores the importance of honesty and the need to break free from the constraints of social conventions. Hardcastle's actions ultimately paved the way for the younger generation to find their own happiness, emphasizing the play's message about the importance of understanding and compassion in relationships. Mrs. Hardcastle. Mrs. Hardcastle embodies many traits that make her a compelling character. Her vanity and obsession with city fashion highlight her superficial nature, while her manipulative tendencies reveal her desperation to maintain control over her family and circumstances. Mrs. Hardcastle's relationship with her son, Tony, is particularly interesting. By lying about his age, she attempts to keep him dependent on her, showcasing her desire for power and influence. Her plans for Constance's father illustrate her greed and selfishness, as she prioritizes her own interests over her niece's happiness. This dynamic creates tension with the play, especially as Constance seeks to escape her aunt's control and find true love. Overall, Mrs. Hardcastle serves as a foil to other characters and is integral to the comedic and dramatic elements of the story. Her vanity and obsession with appearance indeed illustrate her superficiality, while her manipulative behavior indicates deeper insecurities and a need for control. The dynamic between Mrs. Hardcastle and her son Tony is particularly rich for exploration. By about his age, she not only seeks to maintain her influence but also to keep him tethered to her ambitions, showcasing a troubling blend of material concern and self-serving manipulation. This desire to keep him dependent reflects a broader commentary on parental control and the lengths to which individuals will go to maintain authority, even at the cost of their children's well-being. Furthermore, her treatment of Constance reveals her self-interest and lack of genuine compassion. By prioritizing her own desires, whether that be status, financial gain, or familial alliances, over Constance's happiness, Mrs. Hardcastle embodies the theme of selfishness that runs throughout the narrative. Her actions create conflict and tension, prompting the audience to reflect on the consequences of such behavior within familial relationships. Overall, Mrs. Hardcastle serves as a compelling representation of vanity and manipulation, and her interactions with other characters reveal the intricate dynamics of power and control within the family unit. Her character acts as a catalyst for the events of the story, making her an essential figure in understanding the underlying theme. Tony Lumpkin, Esquire. Tony Lumpkin is indeed a fascinating character, embodying a blend of rustic charm and cleverness that sets him apart from the more refined characters in the play. His disdain for his mother, Mrs Hardcastle, and her controlling nature drives much of his actions. His motivation, despite his lack of formal education, Tony's quick wit and resourcefulness allow him to navigate the social dynamics of his environment with ease. His relationship with lower class men and his penchant for humor reveal his desire for freedom and authenticity, contrasting sharply with Mrs. Hardcastle's aspirations for him to marry into wealth and respectability. Tony's playful yet subversive pranks, particularly against his stepfather, highlight his rebellious spirit and his determination to assert his identity. Tony's love for Beth Bonser represents his yearning for genuine connection and a life unencumbered by societal expectations. Meanwhile, his mother's insistence on a match with Constance underscores the tension between social ambition and personal desire. Ultimately, Toy's character illustrates the theme of class and the complexities of social status, as he uses his cleverness to challenge the pretensions of those around him, proving that intelligence and worth are not solely determined by education or social standing. In a society that seeks to prescribe his role, he embodies the spirit of the young, free-thinking individual who chafes against societal expectations, particularly those dictated by his mother. Tony's playful deception from his tricks involving the mistaken identity of the local gentry to the way he manipulates the people around him underscores his cleverness and sharp intellect, despite being viewed as merely a fool by those who surround him. His love for the rustic and his camaraderie with the lower classes further emphasize his disdain for the artificiality of the upper class lifestyle, reflecting a desire to break free from societal constraints. Moreover, his tumultuous relationship with others, such as his interactions with his love interest, Constance, whom he wants to help escape her oppressive circumstances, showcases his complexity as a character. Tony is not just a prankster, he is also a figure of sympathy who seeks to forge genuine connections, even as he navigates the chaotic social landscape dictated by his mother's ambitions. Ultimately, Tony Lumpkin's character served as a vehicle for exploring themes of class conflict, individualism, and the quest for authenticity in a world life with pretense, making him a pivotal figure in the comedic and societal commentary of the play. His antics and defiance contribute to the storyline's humor while prompting audiences to reflect on the constraints of societal expectations and the value of personal freedom. And pedigree. In Oliver Goldsmith's play, She Stoops to Conquer, and pedigree serves as a symbolic character, representing traditional values and familial expectations regarding marriages. Her name hints at her function within the story, emphasizing the importance of family, lineage, and social standing. Mrs. Hardcastle's decision to send Constance to her aunt underscores the tension between individual desires and societal norms. Constance's intention to elope with Hastings reflects the desire for personal agency, which is thwarted by Tony's mischievous actions. Throughout the play, this conflict between love and familial duty is central to the comedic and thematic structure. Even though Aunt Pettigrew herself never appears, her absence highlights how characters navigate the constraints of their family dynamics and societal expectations. In She Stoops to Conquer, Aunt Pettigrew serves as a potent symbol of the traditional values and societal expectations that govern marriage, particularly in relation to family lineage and social status. Her very name suggests a preoccupation with the family heritage, which resonates throughout the play. The decision by Mrs. Hardcastle to send Constance to Aunt Pettigrew can be seen as an attempt to ensure that her daughter makes a socially acceptable marriage, foreshadowing the conflict between personal desires and societal conventions. Constance's intention to elope with Hastings epitomizes her yearning for autonomy and genuine love, contrasting sharply with the expectations placed upon her by her family. This romantic aspiration is ultimately obstructed by Tony's scheming, which highlights the often comedic interference that family dynamics can impose on personal relationships. Moreover, Aunt Pettigrew's physical absence throughout the play accentuates the pervasive influence of societal norms. Even in her absence, her ideals loom large over the character's actions and decisions. The tension between love and family duty threads through the narrative as characters navigate the constraints imposed by their familial obligations and the larger social fabric. This interplay between romantic aspirations and traditional mores drives the comedic element of the play, illustrating not only individual desires but also the absurdity of rigid societal expectations. Thus, while Aunt Pettigrew never appears on stage, her symbolic presence is integral to understanding the character's struggles and the thematic richness of She Stoops to Conquer. The resolution of these conflicts ultimately suggests reconciliation between love and social duty, reflecting Goldsmith's commentary on the evolving nature of relationships in his contemporary society. Thank you for listening and see you next lecture.